breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
The response from Republicans to your visit is that you care more to meet with Abrego Garcia than you do with Rachel Moore, who is the mother of a Maryland woman who died in your state. What is your response to that criticism specifically?
Well, my response is that my heart goes out to the family of Rachel Moore. As I said at the time, my heart breaks for what happened to them. That should not happen to any family in America. And I'm very glad that a court of law convicted her killer and is going to punish her killer in a court of law. The reason we have courts of law are to punish the guilty, but also to make sure that those who have not committed crimes are not found guilty and arbitrarily detained. In other words, everybody has due process. So the effort by the Trump administration to try to conflate these two issues goes to the heart of what I was just talking about, their effort to change the subject. But again, to the Moore family, we have 3 children. I cannot imagine losing a child in the heartbreak that caused, and it should not happen. And my heart breaks for everybody in Maryland or America who has lost a loved one to violence, regardless of the perpetrator.
Senator.
It's odd that the reporter never asked him the big question. He should have asked him, why did this human piece of excrement never meet with Patty Marin? Patty Marin, her daughter Rachel, was killed, had some really bad things done to her because of one of these animals that he is trying to protect. And the reporter had a great chance to ask him, why did you not ever, in the entire period of time, you've seen this woman on television, you've seen her crying, you've seen her tell the story about her daughter's battered, abused body, almost necrophilia, and you never took the time to even bother to go meet with this woman. Yet, you get on a plane, you fly to El Salvador, and you realize all of a sudden, I've been caught in a trap. I've been caught in a huge trap. You lying scumbag. Innocent people don't need to hold these kinds of press conferences. You're trying to gaslight America all over again. And then he's trying to blame this on Bukele, President Bukele of El Salvador, and then somehow blame his travel on President Trump. The entire thing blew up on him, and now he's trying to blame it on Bukele and President Trump. Senator Van Hollen, quick question. How did all these people behind you get completely made up signs? How did you come back all the way from El Salvador and have time to have all these people behind you with made-up signs holding it up looking like it's some sort of hostage video? You know you got caught. And because he's trying to tie Trump into it, we all know he's been caught. He's been caught into a huge bear trap. And now he's got no way to get out of it. Listen to him try to explain his way out of this trap. It's crazy.
About what I would call Margarita Gate. I don't know if you guys have been following this, but President Bukele, after I met with Kilmar, did this tweet showing us at a table with these 2 glasses. So here's what happened.
Why are you having to explain what happened? You were in El Salvador. You were sitting at a table. And at that table sat you and this other MS-13 guy. We'll call him the Maryland man, as everybody affectionately calls him. And you never noticed that these glasses were on the table until you got back and saw this tweet. Is that what you want people to believe? You want people to believe, yeah, there was nothing wrong. I was sitting there and the margaritas were there and we never touched them. It's sort of like saying, you know what? I smoked it, but I never inhaled. Is that what you really want people to think? Is that where you're going with this?
When I first sat down with Kilmar, we just had glasses of water on the table. I think maybe some coffee. And As we were talking, one of the government people came over and deposited 2 other glasses on the table with ice, and I don't know if it was salt or sugar around the top, but they look like margaritas. And if you look at the one they put in front of Kilmar, it actually had a little less liquid than the one in front of me, to try to make it look, I assume, like.
You notice the lady in the back with the big sunglasses is nodding along as though she was there. That's how brain dead these people are. She's actually nodding along, going, yeah, yeah, there was nothing there. How do you know? Oh, he told me. Yeah, that's how I know.
He drank out of it. Let me just be very clear. Neither of us touched the drinks that were in front of us. And if you want to play a little Sherlock Holmes, I'll tell you how you can know that. So if you look at the video or the picture I sent out from the beginning of our meeting, you'll see there are no glasses on the table. So you'll see in later videos they are on the table. But they made a little mistake. For some people are very careful, right? If you sip out of one of those glasses, some of what...
So what you're saying right here is you came back after you saw the uproar on social media and you had to study these glasses and try to come up with some excuse, some way to lie yourself out of this, because you realize at this point you probably got a text while you're on the plane going, uh-oh, you're in big trouble. They've got video. They've got all kinds of photographs. Notice he doesn't say the guy didn't look like he was tortured. Notice he doesn't say like, his life's in danger. He goes right to Margaritaville. How about the other Ville? How about Fakeville? How about the fact that this guy is not in danger of his life? He does not need a withholding order. He's not even talking about that. He's trying to save his own butt right now. This has nothing to do with Garcia. This has everything to do with Von Holland trying to save his own butt, because he realizes his goose is cooked.
Whatever it was, salt or sugar, would disappear. You would see a gap. There's no gap. Nobody drank any margaritas or sugar water or whatever it is. But this is a lesson into the lengths that President Bukele will do to deceive people about what's going on.
So right away, here comes the blame game. I'm a Democrat politician. I've got robots behind me. They can't think for themselves. They have no idea that I'm BSing them. And I'm going to tell everyone, because you got this impromptu press conference, but somehow everybody happened to have signs and placards all ready to go. This guy says, this is what leadership looks like. Not really. If that's what leadership looks like, we're in really big trouble. But let's continue to this charade.
And it also shows the lengths that the Trump administration and the president will go to, because when he was asked about a reporter about this, he just went along for the ride. So
these people are unbelievable. He's doing this with a straight face and saying this is Trump's fault and it's Bukele's fault. No, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even drink out of the sugar water. The entire trip was a lie. You got caught, bro.
The White House and the president have been lying about this case from the beginning. They've been trying to change the subject from the beginning. As I said, and the courts have said, from the Supreme Court to the Fourth Circuit to the District Court, what this is about is adhering to the Constitution, to the right of due process. That's right. And that's why we say, bring Kilmar home, so he can be afforded his rights under the Constitution. That's what this is about.
Here's the problem with what he just said and how you know he's lying. If that's how you closed that little soliloquy that you put out there, you closed it with a lie. And how do I know it's a lie? Because Mr. Garcia doesn't belong here. This isn't his home. You are an absolute liar. You are an absolute disgrace to the American government. This guy is an illegal immigrant. He doesn't belong here. Face it. You got caught. He got deported. Game over.